It's Friday. It's 5 o'clock. You're in your rig. Maybe you heard that last traffic report or not. You're getting ready for a fabulous weekend. You got the spring game, NHL, NBA playoffs begin this weekend. It's going to be gorgeous outside, and you have Idaho Sports Talk for another hour. Hold on to it or even be a part of it at 208-424-9300. I asked Prater this, but I also want our little community to chime in as well. And this is a fair or foul to be born and raised in Idaho, in the Treasure Valley. You're from here flat out and not know what the Prater Bridge is on the other side of the state. Fair or foul? Prater, that guy had no idea what the Prater Bridge was, and he said he was born and raised in Idaho.
As a proud member of the Magic Valley in the state of Idaho and born and raised, I'm very much offended by that remark, Ballgame.
Yeah, Prater was not happy in that commercial break. He did not want JP to give him that prize whatsoever. It was a failure, and he needs to go take an Idaho history lesson.
Yes, he does.
I'm just kidding, man.
We are too. Yes.
This is our video segment brought to you by the Dollar Loan Center. Visit don'tbebroke.com if you need a little extra cash in your life. And I don't know if that's the reason, but Chibuzo Abo, he's going to have a lot more cash coming to his life, Prater. BJ Rains reporting about $500,000 is the deal that Boise State lost on Buzo. We want to further this conversation, debate, if you will, NIL and where Boise State basketball lives in terms of NIL in a Boise State football town. You have some pretty strong thoughts on this.
Well, first of all, Chibuzo Abo definitely left because of the money. I can't imagine, even if it was he had a beef with offensive coordinator Tim Duryea, who he didn't mention in his thank you message social media graphic this morning. He mentioned everybody from student managers who helped him rebound to everybody on the staff, but he didn't mention Tim Duryea. So I'm not sure if he was a little upset with his offensive role, but we're going to let that one slide. This is all about cash, money, and NIL. Basketball in this town is different, and if Chibuzo Abo gets an offer for $500,000 and he comes back to Leon Rice, I don't know if he said, I'm going, see you later, or I got this offer. Is there anything you can do? Because I'd like to stay. And I truly believe that he would have liked to have stayed. He sat in our chair in our studio 2 weeks ago and flat out said NIL and transfer portal were not in his future. Well, that was before somebody gave him a reported $500,000. If he comes to Leon Rice with that kind of figure, if I'm Leon Rice, and it's not like Leon Rice has a choice, and maybe down the road he will, but right now he'd have to say, sayonara, see you later. There's nothing I can do. Even if he went out and tried to match what Ashton Jeanty got, the reported $300,000 deal, I'd be thoroughly opposed to that. I am thoroughly opposed to Leon Rice spending significant amounts of name, image, and likeness cash right now.
Yeah. Because
I think it's different for basketball, and it's just my opinion, and I can't wait to hear your side. I can't wait to hear some fan side. Basketball in this town is different than football in this town. This town is a football town, and that's where the money is, and that's where the power is. Leon's done a nice job of building this program, but it's been painfully slow and frustrating. And here we go again with another offseason of rebuilding the roster, early season chemistry, peaking at the right time, and then fading in March. I can sit here and predict what's going to happen next year.
That's your Broncos outlook of 24-25 season right there? You just spelled it out?
No, it's been Broncos outlook it's for every year that Leon Rice has been in the basketball coach at Boise State. But that's beside the point. If he gave $300,000 to Chibuzo Abo, then he's going to have to give $300,000 to Tyson Degenhart. He might have to give $300,000 to Omar Stanley. And guess what? Because of the turnover in football and because you can play basketball with one superstar, he's going to have to do that again next year and next year. You're going to have to give $300,000 to a player every single year until the end of time. And then the bill will just continue to go up and up and up. Boise State football and basketball, they're developmental programs. They cannot play or win the NIL game. They can do what they can. And Joe Nickel at the Horseshoe Collective has done a fantastic job. And the staff down there has done a fantastic job. And it's going to continue to grow and be great. But you can't give you can't have a $500,000 NIL basketball budget and use that every single year. That's not sustainable. I don't think that's right. And that's not good for Boise State. Hopefully they get there one day. Football is different. And Ashton Jeanty deserves all $300,000 that he got. And Boise State, every 3 to 5 to 8 years, is going to have the magical superstar. And Ashton Jeanty is that. And football can come up with $300,000 every 5 years. Now, there's going to be other NIL deals, maybe a little bit of here, a little bit there, a car, whatever. It hurt Ashton Jeanty. He's getting a watch and a sandwich, and he seemed perfectly happy about that. Oh, and a blue Mustang.
Feels like a hell of a good-looking watch, though. And yeah, the choice special color of Mustang, like he got to pick that Mustang. It's not even ready yet.
Yeah.
They're still working on it.
Absolutely.
It's the AJ2 Mustang special. I cannot wait to see that car in the parking lot or him cruising around, by the way.
He's worth every single penny of that, and Boise State should give those kinds of packages out every 3 to 5 years. Leon Rice is backed into a bad corner, guys. A bad corner.
Why,
and
why do you say that?
Just because he can't afford to give $300,000 to $500,000 every single year. And Chibuzo Wabo just left. He can't afford to give Tyson Degenhart $300,000 to $500,000. I mean, BJ came on just an hour ago and said he's getting decent money, but I mean, I don't know how much money he's getting, but you know, he's getting car payments and donuts as far as I know. And I know he's getting some good money from Idaho Central Arena Credit Union as well. So he's getting some good money and probably deserves more, frankly. I mean, as the face of this program, who has spent 3 years in this program, earning and growing and developing and doing everything that's right with Boise State athletics. If you could afford it, give Tyson Degenhart as much money as possible. Leon Rice can't afford it. Leon Rice is going to constantly lose the NIL game. NIL is more dangerous in the basketball world, and Leon Rice is in a major pickle, not only moving forward, but forever.
So you're saying too on this that, you know, even if they did find some money to pay someone for basketball, and he was an important player, you would still say, you know what? No, you would rather have that money reserved in the football account because football's proven that it's more of a whatever it is than basketball, Prater.
But it doesn't really work into it. I'd rather have that money in the football account. I want the football to go off and raise its own NIL money. I want basketball to go off and raise its own NIL money. Yeah. I want Joe at the Horseshoe Collective to raise his money. And I want all those three to work in concert with each other. And I'm telling you that Leon Rice can't afford $300,000 to $500,000 every single year with the turnover in a basketball roster. It's ridiculous. It's crazy. It's insane. You can't afford to play the money game if you're Leon Rice.
Now, what if, and this is a big what if because this never happened before here, what if there is an Ashton Jeanty version of a basketball player? And that is, hey, North Carolina wants him, Duke wants him, Kansas wants him, and Kentucky wants him. Basketball player, the Ashton Jeanty clone for hoops. If that was the case, and the basketball player would want a Jeanty similar package to keep him here in Boise to play basketball. If it was that case and he was one of those unicorns, I would be okay with Leon Rice getting more money and maybe even saying we'll live in a world where a basketball player on that campus is your number one NIL athlete more than anybody on the football team. Not sure we'll get there. Not sure the program can have that type of player. But if they ever do, Prater, I'd be okay with it in that circumstance. What do the listeners think? 208-424-9300 on the Double Tap Pub hotline. I'm mostly with you on this. This is a football town. Football runs that athletic department, and football needs, out of 10 nice things, football's getting 8 of them, and many times they get 9 of them. In basketball, you get your 1/10, and you got to make chicken salad out of chicken poop on that. And Leon, hey, Buzo was not getting any money offers 2 years ago, scoring 1 point at Texas Tech, right? And same with Abu Kijab, one of Leon's favorite players ever, averaged 2 points a game at Oregon, came here, developed, was a star. No one was offering him a ton of money. I do think, Prater, there is a talent pool of players out there who won't require the money. But if guys like Buzo, God, he's a good player, but if guys like Buzo are going to get $500,000 to leave Boise State, man, you're going to run into this. I mean, again, no more next year. You just got to worry about this year. That's it, because you got to assume guys are going to be leaving. 208-424-9300. Prater, what do you want?
You can't play it that way. That's not how business works. That's not how money works. You can't just worry about this year. When you're building a roster and you're trying to win a championship from October until March, you can play that game. But the money game is completely different. That's business. That's cash. And if I give $500,000 next year in basketball NIL money, it's almost like a budget. If you don't use it, you're going to lose it the next year. So the next year, he's going to have to come up with that again. And then next year, he's going to have to come up with that again because of the turnover in basketball, because it's so different. So you gave us a hypothetical. It's never happened. I'm not sure will ever happen here. Tyson Degenhart, to me, is the closest it's ever come. But, Kentucky doesn't want Tyson Degenhart. I'd be surprised if the NBA wants Tyson Degenhart. Tyson Degenhart is one of the greatest college basketball players ever to come through this program, and he's a great ambassador for this community, and I hope he goes off and becomes the president of the United States. But you know what? If he's asking for that kind of money this year, which he isn't, because I think he's more responsible and understands the betterment of this entire program, then you're going to have to turn around and do it next year. And Leon can't afford that. He doesn't have that kind of money.
208-424-9300, Cloverdale Plumbing text line, double tap pub hotline, where Baker Boy is holding. Baker, what do you have for us today?
I'm in one of my favorite cities in America, Chicago. I'm having deep dish pizza at Giordano's. Life is good. And then I get the Buzo news, and I was so depressed, and I can't get myself out of the depression quite yet. I'm not sure when it's going to happen, but I don't think there's any hope for us to be able to compete in NIL until the thing gets regulated and until there's some sense of a salary cap or some limitations to how often players can go from place to place, or some contract. There's not even a contract at the moment. It's just pay to play straight. Here's money to come to the school, and we hope it works out. You have to think eventually that these $1 million checks that are being written at bigger schools, some of those guys are going to flame out or not end up being what they were expected to be. And those guys are going to want to not write that check again and again and again. But in the meantime, I think we have to hope to get guys who want to be here, who, for the same way that we've been able to get coaches, like the community, like the lifestyle, like the fan base, and are willing to be a part of it for, can we hope for 3 years? I mean, it seems like 2 to 3 years is probably closer to a reasonable expectation for somebody coming in here. And the other thing I'll say, Johnny, is you're exactly right. We've never had a surefire NBA lottery pick type talent at Boise State. We've had great players, but we haven't had guys who came in. It was like, that guy's going to the NBA and he's going to make a difference. He's going to be playing on Tuesdays and Fridays on TV, and people are going to know about him. And so the success kind of builds on itself. We haven't made a run in the NCAA tournament to establish ourselves as a destination for a surefire NBA prospect to come and play for 2 years and go pro and have that build on itself the way that we've been able to do in football. And so until that happens, I think this is where we're stuck. I'm depressed. I'm hoping for good news in the next week or so about the transfer portal. It taketh, but it giveth. And I need a little help for my energy level for sure.
Appreciate the call, Baker. At least he got fabulous Chicago pizza yesterday. I mean, hey, you can have bad news, but if you have that old school regular deep dish Chicago pizza that I've never had but want, that can kind of sometimes fix a rainy day. Prater, great call.
Food can always fix a rainy day, but that's the depression, and that's a realistic fan who's loyal to the program, and we know him a little bit, and he's a proud, loyal fan of Boise State basketball. And it's important to him and his family, and he certainly understands. But he knows where Boise State basketball is in the college basketball world, and it's unfortunate. I mean, I like NIL. I like student athletes having rights. I kind of like the transfer portal, even though it's gotten wonky and ugly, and there's no rules and nobody's fighting it. And maybe the market corrects itself and maybe all this stuff comes together, but I don't see that happening. Once you let the genie out of the bottle and she takes all of her clothes and dances on the beach, man, it's all over.
Yeah, she's not coming back to you,
She ain't coming back to you, dude.
You've lost her. She's cashing in on you like these players are in the NIL, taking the best deal. Now they're going to go to school every single year just based on, I'm thinking, like, if you're a high-level collegiate athlete, very high-level, high school athlete, you now have this window of 2 to 5 years to make a crap ton of money in college. Think about that, Prater. Like for the highest of the highs, the 4 or 5 star kids, their parents are now starting to say, like, okay, well, all these schools want you for this sport. Here's what comes with it. Here's what Duke's #1 recruit in basketball got last year. They want you this year. All of a sudden, it's like even moms and dads, you're thinking, wow, you're going to go to school, but you also get a chance to really not even set yourself up for life, but really just give yourself a pretty damn good life at that early age. And that is going to be better than, oh, they have a really nice library. Boom, bam, they are a first-rate research institution. Kids just are going to care even less now than maybe some of them did before. It's going to be about money, and then it's going to be about minutes and playing time and the other things that come with that, cool uniforms, Prater, whatever else these kids want these days. And there you go, fans. That's the world we're going to live in, as far as I'm concerned, with college hoops and college sports.
Because I'm the positive, happy guy around here.
Yeah.
I did find something good about the NIL. And this was a story in The Athletic today. And for the last couple of years, since you and I have been doing this show together, we've seen the players from college football declaring early for the NFL draft at a gross, alarming rate.
Every year, yes.
And half these kids never get drafted and end up being insurance salesmen down the street, which is perfectly fine, but that's certainly not the NFL dream that they're chasing. This year, the underclassmen who declared for the NFL draft, the number was 58. That's the lowest it's ever been since 2010, down from 130 3 years ago.
Wow.
And here's the deal. It's because of name, image, and likeness. Seventh rounders in the NFL draft get about $118,000 bonus. Practice squad players make roughly $200,000 a year in the NFL right now. 118 and 200,000. That's what I just talked about. Ashton Genty's getting $300,000. Chibuzo Abo reportedly is getting $500,000. These same players can stay, especially at the Power 5 level, and get that kind of money, more money than they would get in the NFL. And there's no threat of getting cut. You could go into the NFL as a seventh rounder. As you said earlier on this show, you're not guaranteed to make the team. Your $118,000 bonus or your $200,000 practice squad deal can evaporate just like that dancing genie on the beach. Players staying for NIL. It's crazy now. You can make more money in college than you can in the pros.
Yeah, for that sense, you're right. I guess college football wins. Let's get to the spring game or anything you want to add to that NIL. Go ahead, call or text. And why are you going to the spring game tomorrow? What about it? Or what are a couple of things you're going to be looking for when you get there, JP? Keep the Double Tap Pub hotline open, 208-424-9300. Prater in the ball game.
From the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Studios, this is